as an adult, if you spend years learning English, lots of vocabulary, even solid grammar, but still feel stuck or even lost when it comes to actually speaking, if you often freeze up or hesitate a little when someone asks you a question in English, even though in your head you know the exact answer, especially if you want to speak more naturally for work, for travel, for conversations with foreign friends, or just because you genuinely enjoy learning a new language the way a native speaker would, this video is for you. Now let's get straight into it. The reason you don't sound like a native speaker is this. You're putting isolated words together and trying not to make grammar mistakes at the same time. And while this makes sense given how most of us were taught probably from elementary school or primary school all the way through high school, it's missing something fundamental. And here's the difference. Being able to understand grammar rule or know what a word means is completely different from being able to use it in a real conversation, just like a native speaker would. Right? It's because knowing isn't the same as speaking, just like knowledge isn't the same as skills. Now think about it this way. You know the word actually, let's say actually, right? You've heard it, you've seen it, you know what it means. But in real context, in real conversation, are you able to use it naturally, just like a native speaker does? Probably not most of the time. And that's because you learned the word, but not how it actually lives in a conversation. And I just use actually. Did you notice? Now imagine this situation. You run into somebody you haven't seen in a while, and they ask, "Hey, how have things been?" Sorry for the noises in the background. It's my neighbor, by the way. How have you been? How have things been? What actually happens in your head right now? If you're like most learners, your brain starts functioning, your brain starts thinking, it starts processing, picking word, checking grammar, and putting together a response. But by the time you've done all that, the moment already feels a bit off. What comes out might be technically correct, but it doesn't feel natural, not even to you. The gap between what you really want to say and what actually comes out, that's what we're talking about. So a lot of people think the only way to close that gap is to live in an English-speaking country. And yes, full immersion is powerful, but it's not the only way. Good news, isn't it? Now, you can get something close to that experience without even getting on the plane. You know what I mean? So what you need is something that gives you the feeling of being in a real conversation, back and forth, probably spontaneous conversation, as much as possible. So here are the options in order of what actually works best, according to me at least. First, real, natural, almost spontaneous conversations as much as possible. The main goal is to shift your brain from analyzing English, is this the right word, is it the right grammar rule, to actually feeling it. From, is this grammatically correct, to, is this what they would actually say here, right? So that could be your foreign friends, that could be your teacher, and that could be someone you meet traveling. Basically anyone that gives you that real back and forth. Second, content that pulls you in, podcasts or videos where people just sitting down, connecting, talking together naturally, almost spontaneously. Not scripted, not formal. The type of content that doesn't make you feel like you're studying and analyzing English, but actually makes you feel like I'm living with it. I can use it in real life. So there's a lot of content out there, but what actually makes a difference isn't just how much you consume, but it's whether you're noticing how things are said, the rhythm, the patterns, and it's whether you start recognizing them and connecting them over time. And if you want structured practice, real conversations in a small group focused on how English is actually used, not just explained, that's exactly what I've built. It's a small online group, maximum 4 people, built around real situations and how native speakers navigate them. Just real practice. If that's what you've been looking for, the details are in the description. Bye.